Hello, my name is Jameson Lester, and this is my fourth and final speech for the Southern speech class. Um, this will be the persuasive speech, and mine will be on buying a new car versus buying a used car. Sometime in everyone's life, multiple times, you make the decision whether or not you want to buy a new or a used car. Uh, the downsides on buying a used car is you can't get what you want, and most of the time you don't actually know everything about the car, because no one wants to tell you everything that's wrong with the car or what could be wrong with it in the future. As well as as the maintenance policy wears out, your dealership may or may not be covered by it. After that point, if you buy a used car, it's not going to be anyways, most of the time. So consumerreports.org, they say that buying and leasing are one of the two biggest concerns when you come to buying a new car. Leasing, that's just a partial, you're not actually buying the car, it's more like renting the car, but you can end up buying the car in the end. That will continue off the end of your lease or your renewal lease, and you will get a lease for another car. And buying the car, after you're done, it's your car. If you choose to sell it, you can sell it. What you sell it for, you get the money for. You can do whatever you want to with it. It's your car, it's your money, and that's a whole lot different on the end of a lease. With the lease, you don't own the car, and you just give it back to the owner that you leased it from. Here in recent years, leasing has been the way to go, and the way that a lot of people have went. One reason is because of the lower monthly payments. You're probably talking $100 to $200 less on your monthly payments than you were if you were buying the new car, because your lease contract only adds up to be about half of the price of the car on the market at the time. So throughout recent years, leasing has been the way to go. And another decision that has to go along with this is your interest rates. Your interest rates will be higher if you buy the car outright, but then again, it's your car at the end of it. When you lease the car, your interest rates will be little to nothing. Yeah, it's night and day on your pricing there at that point. Your upfront costs, other than your down payment, taxes, registration, and other fees that they decide to throw in there, on your lease, this does include your first month's payment usually, and a security deposit. But other than that, that's pretty much all. As far as if you decide to lease something and you quit your lease early, this is a big part. If you own the car, you've already bought it, you can sell it, trade it, whatever you want, it's yours. If you end your lease early, this can be where having the lease can come back to bite you, because there are charges simply because you didn't stick to the contract, and those car charges can total the full amount on the contract. So if you do not decide to continue with that contract, you will be paying for the car, and you will not be driving the car. So that is a big downside to leasing if you decide to not continue with your lease contract. So money under 30, this is what they say on your 6-year loans on buying a car versus your 3-year leases. Your monthly payments, these are just examples on around a $30,000 car. So your monthly payments, for example, on a 6-year loan, you might be looking at $420 a month, on compared to a 3-year lease around 287. Your down payment, you won't have a down payment on your lease, but your down payment on your car would be about 2,000 if you were buying it through the loan service. But there will be a cash do it signing, which will be around $2,000 if you do lease, which it's the same either way, so it might as well be a down payment. After 3 years of pay on a 6-year loan, you'll look around $17,000, and total paid after 3 years of your lease will be around $12,500. Obviously, the value after that 3 years, as in like your first 2 to 3 years from when you buy your car, is when your value drops the most. So you're looking at when you buy the car, it's already down after 3 years to $17,000 on the market, which is a huge drop. And of course, if you lease a car, it doesn't matter to you what your car costs at that point because it's not yours. Your total paid after 6 years on your buying the car, after all your taxes, everything through the loan company, interest rates, you're looking around $32,000 to $33,000 buying. And if you lease it, this is 2 leases back to back, including both payments of $2,000 at the signing, you're looking around $25,000. So you save, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. But then again, the time that you could have bought this car, you've pretty much paid about the same value. But then again, the resale value after 6 years, if you buy the car, you're looking around 10 grand maybe. And obviously after 6 years, if you continue to lease, it doesn't matter to you. You just go get a new one. Another bad thing about leases, this is from NerdWallet. Most of your leases have a mileage limit. So say you are allowed 15,000 miles per year from your leasing contract. If you go 20,000, you will get penalized for that. These penalties are anywhere from 5 cents to 20 cents on the mile. So, 5,000 miles at 20 cents a mile, you're looking at a big chunk of change coming out of you. And obviously, you can get a larger amount of distance, say 40 or 30 or 50,000 miles a year, which is, on average, the average person will exceed that 15 to 20,000 mile limit. So if you get a 30 to 40,000, yeah, that will let you go the extra miles without having that worrisome about the charge if you overdo your mileage, but it will cost you more to have that added on your contract. Another thing, leased cars are usually your higher end cars. And also the driver of a leased car will pay the personal property tax on the car in some states, but also in other states. This varies by state. Some states do not have that personal property tax on your leased car. Throughout someone's life, they say that they own an average of 13 cars. Okay, now when I say new car, I don't mean a brand new 2019 Jeep Wrangler or a brand new 2019 Ford F-150. I mean a car that has sat on a lot and never been owned by anybody besides the lot that has bought it. Now, it says that an average price for these cars end up being about $30,000 a piece. And a report by the National Automotive Dealers Association, if you waited and these cars got to 3 years old, you would save an average, or could save $130,000. So if you look at it, there's 4 or 5 more cars that you could possibly buy if you wish to. So another thing is, you hear that your car loses 20% of your value as soon as you drive it off the lot, and that is 100% correct. So your $30,000 car, drive it off the lot, there goes $6,000 off the end of it. And by the end of a year or two, you're looking at another 30%, which drops it down to 9,000 or so. Another 9,000. So your car within 2 or 3 years can only be worth half of its value, and that's just the reality of today. Toyota, for example, this isn't all the same with all cars, but Toyota has an exceptionally well resale value. They hold their value very well. That's just because their name has been always as reliable. So some of your automakers will have a higher resale value and hold their value as much. So if you do buy a car that's around 3 years old or so, I mean, it's still new because no one else has owned it, but you could sell it, or you could buy it, because the price drops for them as well. After about 3 years, that price goes down to about half or a little over half. So you're buying the car, from a brand new car, from them for less. And say you buy for $10,000. The car was $30,000. Say it drops all the way down to $10,000 in 3 years. You buy that car, another 3 years, it's probably going to drop down to $5,000. So if you do decide to sell that car, that's $5,000 back, instead of, if you would have bought it brand new for $30,000 and that car only sold for $5,000, you're losing $25,000 there. So buying a new car, this is one of the biggest deals. A new model year, like brand new, off the lot, this year or next year, you buy the car, the biggest part is you want to make sure that you like the car and the car is the way that you want it. So, you know, what color you want it, what trim you want it, all your accessories in the car, leather seats, heated, cooled seats nowadays, your radio, whatever you want. If you buy a new car, you want in that car what you want. You don't want something that's not to your liking. And that, on leasing a car, that's really one thing you don't have too much of a choice over, because what they have is what they have. With buying a new car, you can kind of sort through what you want and pick out which one you want the best. You can do that with a leased car too, but a lot of times you will not get exactly what you want. And if you buy a used car, this is the biggest thing with used cars. You don't know what the previous owner has done to it. You don't know most of the maintenance, any repairs on it. I mean, you can get repair reports, but you might not get everything on that report. And depending on how old it is, but most of the time, if someone has previously owned a car, you will not get your full amount of, say, if you go buy a car today and something breaks tomorrow, you take it back to that dealership and they will fix it for free, no cost to you. If you buy a used car, a lot of times that option won't be there, just because of the manufacturer. The contract has been used already for the previous owner. So these are my points on buying a used car, and I hope if you do buy a used car, you will go into depth and detail on this and prefer to buy your car the way that you want it, instead of, you know, going out and buying a used car. You don't know what it's been through, so just buy a new car. A lot of times they're within $10,000. I mean, that's a lot, but if you're looking at a $30,000 or $40,000 car, you're already at $30,000. I might as well go ahead and bump up 10 grand and get what I want, instead of having to worry about what someone else has done. This has been my persuasive speech, and I hope everyone has a good day.